Chicka-boom, chicka-boom. Don't you just love a chicka-boom, chicka-boom? Don't you just love... Oh, hi, I'm Trisha, and welcome to Flew the Coop. I'm so glad you came. This is my chicken coop, and I don't have any chickens right now, but I am so glad that you came. A couple days ago, I got back from another women's meetup, and it was 4 nights. And I just thought I'd get on and tell you a little bit about what we did. It's not like, we do fancy stuff or anything. We do a lot of talking and walking and just meeting people and getting to know them. It was at East Harbor State Park on Lake Erie. And that is a park that I had camped at many, many, many times with my parents in the 60's. It's a very familiar drive, um, but I never made the drive myself. So uh, it wasn't very long. And when I got and crossed I think they call them causeways because it's like you got water on both sides. I don't know. Um, it was like being a kid again. So, but the one thing, once I got and I was real close to where the campground is, I passed where the fort used to be. And this fort, I took some pictures of what it is now, but I don't have any pictures of then unless I find something online. That is where they had these machines, and there was a chicken in it and a little small piano. And if you put money in, then it dropped some scratch or something down onto the keys, and the chickens would, of course, peck at those keys. And don't think you could get away with that nowadays, but I can still remember that as a kid, and they were on the porch along there. I don't think our parents ever allowed us to go into the fort because that costs money, but the outside was like a gift shop and the chickens, of course, and there was other machines all along there that you could waste your money, like the ones that stamp your pennies and put sayings on them and stuff, things like that. So I had seen it over to the side, and I thought, I'm going to have to come back and get a closer look at it. Part of the sign, one of the letters was missing, that you could still tell what it was, and the old teepee thing was out in the front still. So, got all set up, and I put up my screen room, which I never even used. So that might be something I made room for it in my camper because I was talking about how I made the bed like a permanent bed and took those cushions off of those side tables. And I'm going to tell you this much, it worked fantastic. I had a place for my water at night. All my stuff that I use was in their place. My battery, like a Jackery or something, it was on the side so I could see it and reach it. I didn't have to get onto the bed to plug stuff in. And it does power that microwave because the first 2 nights I did not have electricity and I wanted to try that microwave. And so I would just unplug it from its spot in the camper, plug it into the extension cord, and the extension cord into the power bank, and off we went. So then we used our Ohio State Park books to get autographs. And it was like an autograph when I was a child. Um, and I can just remember my autograph book. I have still to this day a couple of those, and I have a autograph of my grandpa and my grandma. You just went around and you just asked people for their autographs. I didn't have anybody famous in mind. I had my school teachers and things like that and classmates. So anyways, it was kind of like that. like I told you, I'm just pretending I'm a little kid anymore, I guess, and I'm just enjoying life. We had campfires each night, and we just sat around and talked. There was one night that, um, by popular demand, they were saying that they wanted to see me twirl. So another lady that put on the event and we twirled batons for them. Uh, I had taken my, I just wanted to highlight a few of the things I had done. I had taken my kick scooter, and I wished I had taken my e-scooter because I could have put it in the aisleway of the camper, being as I'm not sleeping at Cracker Barrels or anything. I'm going straight to the park, and then I could have taken it out and put it in that screen room that I didn't use. Because the kick scooter, it was a lot of work, but it wasn't so much that it was a lot of work. I could get places faster, but I found that the leg that was stationary, I think I tightened it up too much because your lower leg that you kicked with hit the ground lower than your other legs, so you put a lot of pressure onto the legs, and my feet ended up hurting. And I still continued to take walks because I enjoy walking. So the kick scooter is okay if you're just going like to a camp spot or something, but to go all around the campground, I wouldn't suggest it. Although I was a glutton for punishment, and I did do it again and again. So I didn't have a lot of walks, and the lady that I was camping next to, we did walk down to the beach, and I showed her where some of the old beach used to be and the entrances and everything, because it's no longer there. There is at the new side a little bit of the old beach, but not like it used to be with all the bathhouses and everything. And there used to be a concession like type stand too, if I'm not mistaken. So it was like I had been there before and looked at them. And I'm going to show you some pictures of what the beach looked like when I was a kid in the 60s and what it looks like now, because there's really no comparison. And I just remember as a kid, you could just look out. You couldn't see land if you looked the one way on Lake Erie. And it was just like, oh, water everywhere. And it was just so big and huge. And I had never been to the ocean. And the first time I was in the ocean was with my husband, believe it or not, probably within the last 10 years. So yeah, those waves are bigger in the ocean than they are on Lake Erie. But still, Lake Erie is a really nice place to go. Um, One of the ladies that put on the event, she showed us how she sleeps in a chair and how she goes to the potty. She didn't actually go to the potty, but she did a demo, and I think I'm going to add it right here. This is my bed in my van. It fits exactly perfect. It's got a footstool, but it's not enough for me because I need to have my legs up like this. So in my van, I have this in front of me. I put this here. Oops, no. I put this up first, then I do like this, and then doo-doo, like that. And then I put a pillow down there, and my legs are up like about this high then. And I have an exercise mat doubled underneath me, outdoor, whatever this thing's called, cushions, you know, they're back in the seat, and then it goes back. And then I have a pillow on each side and a lumbar support. And I sleep, do-do-do, yep. And then when I have to use the porta potty, I just do this, and I do this. Open it. This I'm not gonna, because this I just got this lid. This is great because it's got like a cushion, but it's condensating too. But my old lid only would go like this. This lid goes all the way, which I find kind of interesting. But anyway, so I would just do that,
turn around, here's the do-do-do. The do-do-do, sit down, have my toilet paper, poo powder, put it back, and put it back together. And it's so easy and convenient, and it's just in a little space in my van, you know. So I love it. And then it's also my garbage can.
On the day that we were due to everybody go home, there was a bunch of them that were going to go to the lighthouse and out to eat. And I kind of wanted to go to the lighthouse and to the prehistoric forest if I could find it, and the fort, just for old memories and to drive around and being myself. You know, it was a very stressful thing to be at the event, and I just wanted to unwind. After they had left, I heated up my lunch, and then I decided, nah, I'm going to go ahead and go to the lighthouse and find another place to eat my lunch. I went down by the lighthouse. I passed it up, so I drove on down, and on down was a very pretty site to stop at. And I was filming the water and stuff, and you could see Cedar Point. Cedar Point is an amusement park, and it jaunts out into the lake. My parents went camping in the summer, like it seemed like every weekend. I don't know if it was. And when we would be at Lake Erie, sometimes we would go to Cedar Point, or we went to Put-in Bay, Kelly's Island. And so I went and visited the lighthouse. Now, this lighthouse is nothing like when we were children. This is the Marblehead Lighthouse. And when I was a child, nobody was there. It had a couple picnic benches, and it just had the house and the lighthouse. And now they've got some other things there. My husband and I, we had seen it since it had been built up. They were still building what was like a boathouse or something that was a recreation of how the boats could get right out into the water for rescues or something. So that is finished. And it was pretty nice. It was peaceful, and there wasn't a whole lot of people. And then I was driving back, and I was going to getting ready, thinking, you know, had to get on the road to get home. And I seen where the prehistoric forest used to be. Now, the prehistoric forest, it had all these here dinosaurs and everything, you know. Of course, those things would have been decayed, you know, from the 60's by now. And I can remember, you know, just going there. We went to it a few times as kids. And there was some kind of house. I don't know if it was I can't even remember if it wasn't an upside down. It was a magnetic house. I don't know what that was, but that there was something else there. Maybe I can look it up and find out. I recognized it because of the shape of some of the older buildings and the parking lot with the entrances and stuff. But it was now called forest camping or something such as that. So it had turned into a campground. So there's no longer any dinosaurs back in there. But I guess nothing stays the same, especially stuff you did in the 60's. And then it had built up all around the lake a lot more. And I've seen some really nice lake houses that they were putting in. I don't think I'm going to go get one. And I guess the fishing, because the walleye, oh, I love the walleye fish that you get in Lake Erie. My husband's boss, he would, and I don't know, I guess it's okay to tell it if anybody else is there. He would go fishing on Lake Erie all the time, and he would bring back a fish for Wendell at the walleye, and he'd have them already cleaned, frozen, and packaged. I'm going to miss that. I really am. But he would only do it for my husband, and he'd take his cooler in and bring home the fish. Yep, I miss my husband. a lot more than I miss the fish. So, but the walleye is a milder fish. It's good. Pulled into the prehistoric forest parking lot, which is no longer a parking lot for that. And I thought I would eat my lunch that I had made. So I plugged in the microwave to the power bank and was going to heat it up again. And I really wanted to get on the road. And then I just put the food back and started down the street. I got close to where you would turn to go back to the campground. And this hit me, just go get you another night. And this night was only with the half price and it being a weekday. And I got the non-electric because I really didn't need it. It was only, I think, like $12 with my half off. So it was all good. I stayed there and then I got on that kick scooter again. That's where I told you I was a glutton for punishment. And I rode down to the beach and took my little scooter. I folded it up so I could walk out onto the water. Well, it really was a sandbar like type thing where the seagulls were eating and digging and pooping. And then I got back on it and went back to the campsite. And I wanted to see their cabins. They only had two, and they were just cabins. And I started off and I went down and I thought, I'm going to go this way because there was a path. I found this path that just goes all the way all along the water over here on the marshy side. This path just goes forever, and I'm thinking with all the thickness of the lily pads down this way, that's over on that path that I was on a long time ago. Well, the actual street that goes to the beach. And I've been on this path for long enough that that's probably, it circles the whole campground. So I'm going to have to make my way back once I figure out where the end of this is. It's peaceful and it's really pretty. And I kept going and kept going and it kept going and I ended up by the marshy water and I was walking along it. I came upon a bench that probably was there when I was a kid, but I don't, know because I didn't. That wasn't a big part for me. uh, that was towards the end of this after I walked and walked and walked and I found my way out. So here we go through this path, see where it goes. Ow. I have to get lower because of my hair. Oh my. Okay. I see cars, I see vehicles. Where are we at? Okay, backside of the campground. I was pushing my scooter, which was a relief on this path, and got my way out, got on the scooter, and I was just a little ways away from where my camp spot was. So I came out right back there, and this is where I was camped at last night, right down there, right across from 111. I kind of walked walked all the way around, and it was so peaceful. There was nobody there, and it was just nice. and quiet. And I'm glad that I did that. And I'm glad that I stayed that extra night and just pulled myself together before getting on the road. I did meet a guy who had a Ford Transit with dually wheels that he had built out himself. And we talked a little bit, and he told me exactly what he had in there. And it's kind of the way that I would build one out. There must be a squirrel above me, and he's knocking stuff down. Needs to get out of my filming. I got up early the next day and started on my way. And a little bit in the way, it did a few more of those where it felt like something was pushing me when I restart, stop at a light and then restart or something. And I can't see it real well because the gear shift is in the way, but under it is a light, the engine light that says service engine or something. And I pull off because I don't know what to do, but I'm not running hot. The oil seems okay. So I get back on the road and head home. The next day, I decided to drive it over to the mechanic and see what he thought about that light. And he put the machine on to see what it was, and it's the transmission. So I don't know how much that's going to cost me. And I'm just kind of worried about taking this camper very far. And I've always worried about that. And then I've been having car trouble with my SUV. I don't know what to do. But I have wanted to try car camping, and I have a meetup. There is a women's meetup, another one, and I was going to go to it, but it is like 3 hours away. And then another one came up by a lady that had the previous meetup that kind of hurt. And she she is having a meetup too. It's at a closer place. It's only an hour and so away. And I thought, okay, I'm going to fix up my SUV and I'm going to try this car camping. And if it works out, I might take it to Florida and do that Florida meetup. It would be more incognito if I stopped at a roadside rest or somewhere to stay the night as a passenger vehicle instead of a camper. I don't know if it would make a difference or not. And I don't know how you take everything that you need for a trip that's that long away. I have the power bank. I don't know if it will run a cooler because I need a freezer if I'm going to go for a long time. I don't know if I'm going to buy a little freezer before this next trip, try it out, or what I'm going to do. But I do know that I'm going to remove those second row seats and make a platform for the bed part. I hope that I can get all the stuff in there. And I'm looking at one of those tents that go on the back of the hatch of an SUV. So you can like sleep in the SUV, close the hatch at nighttime, and then you open it up, and then you've got this whole tent that's attached at the end, and you can put all your stuff in there and cook out there or do whatever. So that might work, and it might even work at the Florida meetup. But the Florida meetup is like in no electricity and I don't even know how that's going to be, if that tent would work or where I would sleep on the way to Florida with this big old tent. So I'm looking into getting the luggage rack stuff or whatever that is on the top of the car, getting this slats that go across, so maybe I can get some kind of thing to hook up there. And then I'm not incognito anymore. But I'll take you along on what I'm going to do with my SUV so that I can go on this next trip. And I really enjoyed Lake Erie. I enjoyed all the women that I met. There were some wonderful women, and I'm going to stay in contact with some of them because I really enjoyed it. Later, taters. Bye for now. What you doing, Wendell?
Trying to cut a tomato. What are you doing?
I'm cooking you some hamburgers. This is a really good spot to have our supper. What do you think, Wendell?
It's great.
Shut up.